It is exactly 1 year since Kenyans woke up in the morning to elect their 5th president. And on the floor of Bomas of Kenya, the former IBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati announced William Samoei Ruto as the president-elect. A Supreme Court bench would later sit a month later to confirm the Chebukati's announcement. And that is how our political transition happened last year. But against the expectations of many, Ruto rushed back to the campaigns, and maybe I'm getting it wrong. Campaigns never stopped, and the country has experienced endless political rhetoric and aggression, while power movers seems to have declined to listen to the sovereign. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by asking, what is your honest assessment of William Ruto's 1 year in office? This is a very important countdown because as Kenya gears towards the 10th of August 2027, there is absolutely every reason to think about another transition. In William Ruto's 1 year in power, it has been dominated, or rather plagued, by political party politics and other Uhuru Kenyatta fights. Now, you will realize that since April this year, not April, March this year, the UDA party, which is the ruling party, went back to politics and has been conducting nationwide membership drive. And immediately they were done with that, the president followed and rushed back to campaign trail after mass action, or rather the protests that were called by Raila Odinga. And William Samoei Ruto went back to campaign with only one message: Raila Odinga, and that I have also done 1, 2, 3. There is one aspect fighting Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Those are some of the two things that have really been happening. Whenever something happens, it's either Jubilee Party takeover or Uhuru Kenyatta family raid. It has always been at the center of it. But the big question in this podcast here is, William Ruto have had a very floppy start against expectation of the sovereign, that it seems to be the best thing that was going to happen to this country. Why is the country in constant perennial mode, in perennial mode? Or why is William Ruto back to campaign trail? We've seen photos being splashed of crowds in Mount Kenya, while what is disguised as launch of a project has to be followed with an impromptu rally so that they can be told something about Raila Odinga. And this is why I want to explain the reason behind Ruto going back. The reason behind Ruto going to campaign. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. William Ruto is back to the campaign trail because of insecurity of tenure. Insecurity of tenure here is the puzzle of the 200,000 gap that Chebukati announced between him and Raila Odinga has been the biggest worry even to the state operatives, because clearly that 200,000 vote, I think that gap, Raila Odinga has catched up with that gap. Even election was to be done in respect to those people who voted on ideology. And because you know very well that election was not what has always been projected as free and fair, you cannot sit comfortable and see things running out of hand. And Ruto went to campaign trail so that he can stage a contest with Raila. And let me use a good example, Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya tour, the 5 days Mount Kenya tour, we have seen ridiculous statements like, the only thing I have now is to send Raila to Bondo. Now, when you hear President saying that the only job now I have is to send Raila to Bondo, that message is being relayed to the voters in Mount Kenya. And it takes them back the mobile lane during the campaigns. That you need to support me because I need to take Raila to Bondo. And to someone in Mount Kenya, if you were to meet a young person or someone there who listened to Ruto, you'll actually imagine that his competitor in 2027 is Raila Odinga. What he has decided is to create a contest with Raila. And that is why some of us have been insisting that one of the most lethal cards that can be unleashed is to make sure that Raila Odinga is not in the ballot and another candidate is backed. In 2027, Raila will be 82 years if I'm not wrong. So if Raila decides to back Kalonzo Musyoka, will you still say that an 82-year-old Raila will be remote controlling Kalonzo Musyoka? Even if you are to become petty in the politics of being a puppet. So he has gone to campaign trail to tell the voters that his competitor is Raila Odinga in future. You know why that? What is that? That is meant to be. That is meant to create, that is meant to cover people's faces so that people might not ask the real question. The real question is about the cost of living. The real question is about the education model, how parents are not able to fund the education for their children. The real question is about the high taxation. But when you get to public and tell them about Raila Odinga, it is a ploy to make sure you'd wink the public. Because I've always believed, if Ruto is a honest man, President Ruto would have gone to the people and defend the taxes. Defend the taxes. Don't go to the people and start telling them about Raila this, Raila that one. That is one of the reasons why he's gone back there. And the political analysts insist that if another candidate is unleashed, then it will find state operatives off guard. The second reason is Ruto is fishing for a way to tweak the hustler narrative for the next presidential election. Now, having gotten into power with all opulence and the trappings of power, it is not politically right and it is not logical to still float something like a hustler narrative or a hustler government, or even having served the first term and you said you'll make government with the hustlers and you appointed all your friends and the rich individuals in government, there is no way you can still get the audacity to get back and tell the people that we are going to form that government with you. Because the people have known. You know, there are some statements that you cannot now repeat. So what is happening, Ruto has gone back there to revive the hustler narrative, the hustler agenda. That is why you will see a lot of political gimmicks. You have seen even sharing cake, 1 year anniversary, meeting people and trying to make some personal, to increase the distance, not to increase, but to reduce the distance between himself and the people, because the people had detached. And we had analyzed that in the very first impromptu rallies, quite a number of impromptu rallies apart from those in Mount Kenya, Kenyans were staring at him like someone they've never known. You know, people were also shocked of some kind of things that he was saying. Lastly, Ruto has gone there to spread hope after a faulty start. what people expected were not there, and they had not been met. Now, what they have been told, or why he has gone back there, if you look at the messaging, is on what I want to do and what I am planning to do. You know, this is year one, and that's why I tell sometimes voters are not just sensitive. This is 1 year after you elected. He's gone back to tell them that I am planning September, NHIF will be down. There is a lot of I am planning and I am going to do and we are expecting, and there is a lot of futuristic statements in terms of what is going to happen. So what he's gone back, he's realized that people had lost hope in leadership. People had lost hope in him. So he has gone there with some quick wins. I have appointed judges in the judiciary. I have taken the port back to Mombasa. And I realized he was in Mombasa and did not take the political credit. He has also gone and now taking, you know, we've issued fertilizer. He's taken the quick wins so that he can spread some hope that things are going to be better. But who are Kenyans? They will fall for the trap. Let's meet in the next.